And if you have heard me say this before, please act surprised. This seat that James is running for, this is LBJ's seat. That is the last time a Democrat has held this seat. It was LBJ. So, it's gonna take us trying all sorts of new things to win this election. We're gonna build community all over the great state of Texas. We are starting right here tonight in Victoria with all of you. So thank you for being here with us. We have with us Victoria County Democratic Party Chair, Jewel Buchanan.
Hello! Welcome to Victoria, Texas's first candidate rally for the 2026 election season, and what an awesome way to start it off. My name is Jewel Buchanan, and I find myself serving our community as county chair for the Victoria County Democratic Party, and I said it that way on purpose. I found myself doing this because before 2022, I really wasn't that active in the party. I was a voter, sure. I watched the news. I was a school librarian, and I paid attention to our school board. I did all those kinds of things. However, during the recent veto campaign, I came to a rally just like this, in this very space. And the next thing I knew, I was block walking, I was a precinct chair, I was secretary, and now here I am in a role that I would have never imagined myself to be in. My reason for telling you all of this is because you are exactly where I was. This is your moment to become a block walker, a phone banker, a postcard writer. This is where I was, and this is what we all want. We want better leadership. So in the back of the room, we have a table set up where you can get more information about how you can get involved with our local Democratic Party, so we can all get great Democratic candidates elected. There are also volunteers back there with clipboards. Please find one of these people and join us. There's an opportunity for everyone to get involved in whatever way feels good for them. Democracy is not a spectator sport. Texas is not a red state. It is a non-voting state. Join us in not only turning out every voter, but turning Texas blue again. We have a growing slate of great progressive candidates who refuse to be to stand up for Texans, our rights, our land, our health, and our education. And on that note, it is my honor to introduce the reason we are all here. A true Texan who knows that every vote counts, every voice counts, and who values your rights and will stand up to those who would take them away. You may have seen his videos on TikTok, Facebook Reels, Instagram. I know I have, and it has been an inspiration to watch James Talarico in the Texas legislature speaking up for public education, affordable child care, and affordable employment. Welcome everyone, James Talarico.
And thank you to our chairwoman for your kind words and for your service to this community. I also want to thank my family members who are here. I've got family that lives here in Victoria. I've got family in Port O'Connor. My mom was born in Port Lavaca. And so this part of the state means so much to me and my family, and it's why I wanted to come here so early in the campaign cycle. So thank you so much for being here. I want to thank the volunteers, those in the vests, for making this event possible. Let's give them a round of applause. And thank you to all of you for showing up here on short notice. It's really an honor to be here with all of you. You know, the past few days have been a whirlwind. We launched this campaign for the United States Senate 2 weeks ago in my hometown of Round Rock, Texas. And the response has been overwhelming. We started off that first day with $0 in our new Senate campaign account. But in just the first 12 hours, thousands of Texans from all over the state giving $5, $10, $15 raised more than $1 million for this People Power campaign. Now, we've got a lot more work to do if we're going to take on the billionaire mega donors who've taken over our politics. But this is an incredible start. And what makes my heart even happier is we've had more than 4,000 Texans go to our website and sign up to volunteer, to knock on doors, to make phone calls, to send text messages. And I hope that each one of you, if you haven't already, does the same when you go home. We have had thousands of Texans show up to rally with us in Round Rock, in San Antonio, in Fort Bend, in Houston, in Dallas, and in deep red Longview, Texas. We're going everywhere. We're talking to everyone. And it's not just campaign events. A few days ago, I joined the picket line with striking hotel workers in downtown Houston who are demanding better wages and better working conditions. And then a few days after that, I got to visit Pine Tree High School in rural East Texas. And I got to judge the cookie bake-off between their culinary students. I ate 12 cookies in a row. And I have no regrets. All of that because this is truly a campaign of, by, and for the people. So thank you for being part of that. You know, I launched my very first campaign for the Texas House of Representatives 8 years ago, back home in Williamson County. Back then, I was told the race was unwinnable. I was told flipping a Trump district was impossible. I was told I was too young. I was told I didn't have the money or the political connections to win. I was the underdog in that race. But my neighbors and I ran an aggressive, authentic, unorthodox campaign that brought people together. And on election night, we flipped that district with 51% of the vote. Now I'm the underdog once again in this race, in the primary and in the general. But my life has shown me always bet on the underdog. Before I was a politician, I was a public school teacher. I taught 6th grade language arts at Rhodes Middle School on the west side of San Antonio. I often say teaching middle school is the best preparation for politics. If you want a leader who can be both tough and compassionate, hire a middle school teacher. That's what we do every single day in the classroom. You know, the west side of San Antonio is a beautiful, historic Mexican-American neighborhood. It's also one of the poorest zip codes in the entire state of Texas. So every day, my students struggle heroically to overcome poverty, overcome racism, overcome systems designed to hold them back. My students weren't just kids, they were survivors, dreamers, fighters. Every day in the classroom, I saw it in their eyes, this unshakable resolve, this unconquered spirit. Growing up, I saw that same fight in my mother, a preacher's daughter from Laredo who left home at 19. She moved up to Austin. She met my birth father, a 21-year-old high school dropout whose drinking problem sometimes led to violence. One night, he became abusive again. But that night, my mother's love rose to meet it. She packed all of our stuff into her little Ford Escort. She drove me to the hotel where she worked, and she begged the manager to let us stay in one of the rooms until we found this little apartment in East Austin. There wasn't room for a nursery, so I slept in a crib in her closet. And she was so proud of that closet. She decorated with toys and pictures. No one was going to tell her it wasn't a nursery. Always bet on the underdog. Like my students, my mom was a fighter. And back then, she looked over at the Texas State Capitol and she saw Texas Democrats like Ann Richards and Bob Bullock fighting for her. And so, this is true, when I was 5 years old, she told me we were Democrats. Because, she said, Democrats fight for the people. Now, let's be very honest. We haven't seen that kind of fight from the National Democratic Party in quite a while. But this critical moment in our country's history demands fighters, not folders. Imagine a Democratic Party that stands up to big money and isn't captured by it. Imagine a Democratic Party that listens to the people, not DC consultants. Imagine a Democratic Party that delivers on housing, healthcare, and education, and actually defeats the right-wing extremists who've taken over this country. National Democrats don't know how to fight. They're comfortable on the coasts and comfortable with the status quo. But there's something about living in a red state that makes you scrappy. Because Texas Democrats know how to fight. Whether it was LBJ pushing the Great Society through Congress, or Barbara Jordan impeaching Richard Nixon, or Wendy Davis holding the floor of the Texas Senate for 13 hours, or Beto O'Rourke interrupting Greg Abbott's press conference in Uvalde, or Texas House Democrats breaking quorum to shine a national spotlight on Texas Democrats know how to fight. We know how to fight for the people. We know how to fight for the underdog. That is what we do at our best. We fight for the many against the powerful few, no matter how big or mean or rich they are. You know, the more I see what's happening in this state and in this country, the more I think the only minority destroying America is the billionaires. Trans people are 1% of the population. Muslims are 1% of the population. Undocumented people are 1% of the population. We are all focused on the wrong 1%. Trans people aren't taking away our health care. Muslims aren't defunding our schools. Immigrants aren't cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It is the billionaires and their puppet politicians. The culture wars are a smokescreen. So many of the divisions in this state and in this country are manufactured by billionaires who want us fighting each other so we're not fighting them. They want us looking left and right at each other so we're not looking up at them. The biggest divide in our politics is not left versus right. It's top versus bottom. The people at the top, the Elon Musks, the Rupert Murdochs, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, they work so hard to keep us angry and divided because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power. So their social media algorithms and their cable news networks tear us apart on an hourly, daily, weekly basis. They divide us by party, by race, by gender, by religion. So we don't notice that they're picking our pockets. They're closing our schools, they're gutting our health care. They're cutting taxes for themselves while they raise taxes on all of us. It's the oldest strategy in the world: divide and conquer. They want to keep us from seeing all that we have in common. They want to keep us from realizing that there is far more that unites us than divides us. Because once we do realize that, we will come together across party, across race, across gender, across religion, to take power back for ourselves and our communities. There is something broken in America. Our economy is broken. Our political system is broken. Even our relationships with each other feel broken. And that's because the most powerful people in the world want it that way. My faith teaches me to love my neighbor as myself. Not just my neighbor who looks like me, or votes like me, or prays like me. I am called to love all of my neighbors like I love myself. Because despite our differences, despite our disagreements, we are far more similar than they want us to realize. We all want the same things: a safe neighborhood, a good job, a high-quality, well-funded public school, and the ability to see a doctor when we need one. I am tired of being pitted against my neighbor. I am tired of being told to hate my neighbor. It's been more than 10 years of this kind of politics. Politics as blood sport. Politics as trolling and owning. Politics as total war. It tears families apart. It ends friendships. And it leaves us all feeling terrible all of the time. I can't tell you what I've seen out on this campaign trail. There is a deep hunger across this state, across the political spectrum, for a different kind of politics. Not a politics of fear. Not a politics of hate. Not a politics of division, but a politics of love. A love that can heal what's broken in this country. I probably shouldn't start a political campaign by saying something nice about my opponent. But Colin Allred is a good man. We all put our trust in him as our Democratic nominee 2 years ago for the U.S. Senate. And I was out there, along with many of you, trying to help him defeat Ted Cruz. At the time, I said Ted Cruz is the worst senator in America. But looking at the current Republican field in this Senate race, I think that title is up for grabs. Neither John Cornyn nor Ken Paxton deserve the honor of representing this great state in our nation's capital. Both of them are far more interested in serving their billionaire donors than serving the people of Texas. Both of them have sold us out time and time again. Ken Paxton's crimes are well known. I was a part of the bipartisan coalition in the Texas House of Representatives that impeached our corrupt Attorney General. But John Cornyn may be even more corrupt than Ken Paxton. I know that may be hard to believe. But John Cornyn was the deciding vote on that big, ugly bill that will kick millions of Texans off their health care. It'll take food out of the mouths of hungry Texas children, all to fund yet another tax break for his donors. We oftentimes think that corruption is something illegal, but corruption is really just the betrayal of the public's trust. It is the abuse of your public office. By casting that deciding vote on that big, ugly bill, John Cornyn committed an act of corruption of the highest order, and he has forfeited his right to represent us in the U.S. Senate. John Cornyn and Ken Paxton claim to stand for freedom, family, and faith. But you can't stand for freedom and silence late-night comedians because you don't like what they say. You can't stand for family and vote against paid family leave, affordable child care, and our neighborhood public schools. And you definitely can't stand for faith when you sell out the poor, the sick, and the vulnerable so you can cut taxes for the rich. John Cornyn and Ken Paxton don't stand for freedom, family, and faith. They stand for bullies, bigots, and billionaires. And it's exactly why we have to defeat them in 2026. I want to leave y'all with one last thought. My granddad was a Baptist preacher here in South Texas. He was actually born in Bishop, not too far from here. And he taught me when I was real little that we follow a barefoot rabbi who gave two commandments: love God and love neighbor. Because there is no love of God without love of neighbor. Every single person bears the image of the sacred. Every single person is holy. Every single person counts. This American experiment started with that same self-evident truth that all people are created equal. This American democracy of ours is a lot more than a constitution. It's a covenant. It's a relationship between neighbors. It's a promise that we make to each other to share this beautiful country. Those billionaires and their puppet politicians are breaking that promise as we speak. But breaking promises in a relationship is not love. It's abuse. And my mom taught me that true love doesn't tolerate abuse. 2,000 years ago, when the powerful few abused the many, that barefoot rabbi walked into the seat of power and flipped over the tables of injustice. His love rose to meet that abuse without becoming it. So to those who love this country, to those who love this state, to those who love our neighbors, it's time to start flipping tables. That's what my granddad taught me. That's what my mom taught me on the east side of Austin. It's what my students taught me on the west side of San Antonio. It's what LBJ and Barbara Jordan taught me. It's what Wendy and Beto taught me. And together, that is how we will take back this state and this country for the underdogs in 2026. Thank y'all for being here.